See, now this is what you usually do for a thumbnail and say, oh, squinting at the screen, do I recognize any of those spines? Today we're going to talk about current reads. And then, oh, but wait, we've been taken over by Portland Book Week. I guess I'll have to explain what that is. Overtaken by events. I told you I was going to talk about unputdownable books, but that's sort of an evergreen theme. And we have 3 days left, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, of Portland Book Week. So I decided executively to talk about Portland Book Week, why it's awesome, what I decided to do as a goal, how it's going, and my last mission of Portland Book Week. So hopefully that will be entertaining. But because I don't like to tease, I will also go over current reads. So, good morning. Sunrise this morning. Did anyone observe it? Sunset. Is anyone watching Booktube while watching the sunset? That would be pretty nice. My name is Margaret Pennard. In case you're new here, that might have been a scary intro if you're new here. I'm an author of historical fiction and an eclectic reader. And today's theme, as I said in the chat, is yapping, mostly about Portland Book Week, because that has been going on for a week now. We have a weekend and a week and another weekend. I think it's pretty smart the way they did that. There are a few things that I would change, and I will definitely go into that as I go through. But I have a question of the day about if your town has a book sort of festival. Portland has several. This is Portland Book Week, not to be confused with Independent Bookstore Day or the Portland Book Festival, which is for writers and readers, but like not bookstores. So yeah, there's lots of things happening, and I'm curious if you know whether your hometown or current town has a book festival. So Anita is here. Hello, Anita. Hello, Jocelyn. Welcome with the Unicorn Cowboy. Love it. Catching Alive. Hey, Beth Ann. Nice to see you. Well, you can stop in. Did it just start? Yes. 10 a.m. Pacific every Wednesday and Friday. I don't think I've missed more than twice a year for a long time. So that's my jam. Okay, so Jocelyn's got an answer. I'm going to hold. Yes. Let's see. I'm gonna hold that till later, but hello, Greg, and welcome and good morning. So, I'm gonna go to the banners because I didn't write an outline, but I put the outline in the banners. So if I do that, I won't get too off track. So Portland Book Week. But first, quickly, we're gonna revisit current reads. So The Future Earth by Eric Holthouse. This is for Climathon. I loved the beautiful rainbow cover. I'm rainbow tabbing it up, and I'm about halfway through. So that's going well. It's mid. It's all right. I started The Evenings by Gérard Rêve. I'm going to say it in French, even though he's Dutch, because I don't know how to say Deutsch. This is a pride read. This is the first openly gay Dutch reader, and I think this is like post-World War II. Very strange, very modern style, so we're tripping our way through that. I've got this one, Restart by Doreen Dodgen-McGee. It's about like retraining your brain after the trauma of the pandemic, and so this is really a curriculum read because it's about mind training, pretty on the nose, so that's been a little academic, but helpful. The Rosemary Tree by Eileen Gooch. This is from 1956. It's set in Devon, so it's sort of like, I don't know, getting into the mindset of the southwest of England for the trip. So that's fun. And finally, The Trading Game by Gary Stevenson, which is a buddy read with Ven's Corner. And Gary's Economics is the YouTube channel, so it's a YouTube author whose book we're reading, actually. So 5 current reads. Have you read any of them? Are you interested in any of them? Let me know down below. But just wanted to get that out of the way, touch base so you know where I am. Hello, Ven. Good evening, sir. We'll get some more answers. Okay, I'll start the answers and banners. Okay, so this is my reminder to remind you, subscribe to the channel, of course, but also I put all the links back in the description today to buy books below. So all the ebooks are 75% off, And sale update. I've had one sale since the last time I said that. So this is pretty awesome. I'm trying to beat a seller fee, which you have to pay if you don't get to a minimum in August. So I'm just telling people, if you've wanted to buy my books between now and August would be really helpful, because every little bit helps. This is my thermometer to try to get to the minimum. So there we go. The reminder has been done. And book week. So let's talk about the question of the day, and then I'll jump into book week. So Jocelyn says there's a book fair here in Oklahoma called Summer of Stories. That's a fun title. It's very unique and original, on July 10th. That's awesome. I know someone else in Oklahoma. I will have to tell them and see if they know. I need to write that down. Thank you for the heads up. That's good. Okay, so July 10th, Oklahoma, Summer of Stories. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Summer of Sam, which is a little horror. I'm sure it's not like horror themed, but I love the title. That's fun. Greg says, off-topic question, but yes, internet troubles are resolved. I have made a deal with a neighbor, so we are putting it to the man, and we're socializing our internet. So that is what we're doing. Julie's answer, my city doesn't have a book festival, but we love the annual Los Angeles Times Festival of Books in April, May. Awesome. Okay, so you just had that. Excellent. Anita, no local festival, although we do sometimes have book fairs. All right, fair enough. So no like annual thing, but people put them on ad hoc because sometimes you need it. Oh no, my town does not do a book thing. Tears. Well, hopefully when you travel, you will chance upon one sooner or later, Beth Ann, and luck into something good. Something tells me I'm into something good. That's the feeling you want. Okay, so back to my outline here. Book week. Portland Book Week, as I said, is a weekend plus a week plus a weekend, and it ends or culminates with the Rose City Book and Paper Fair. And I'm not sure why they call it paper, because it's pretty much just books, but hey, they've been doing it for over 20 years, something like this. So who am I to criticize? Basically, it's go out and have fun at bookstores. They kind of went all out this year. Here's the thing. Stop with the. I am gonna blow my top with these stupid timers. All right, bingo card, epic. Look at this. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stamps. There's 5 by 5. That's 25 prompts, with the middle one being your favorite indie bookstore. So you know who I had to put there. And then on the back, it's the 81 bookstores, although 2 I could not find Googling. The 81 bookstores that are participating, and they can only give 1 stamp each. So you really have to strategize. And I fear I may have strategized too close to the sun, but that's fine. We just visit more and buy more books. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I really think they did a great job. There are multiple shops that qualify for each of the prompts, so you don't have to go to a specific one. And I definitely found some new ones that I had never heard of before, are under a year old even. And so I expanded my repertoire of Portland bookstores, which is nothing to throw shade at. So I really set a goal for myself with this bingo card, and I'll talk about the strategy for that in just a second. Jocelyn says you have to hunt for book festivals here in Oklahoma. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm glad you know right away what the answer was. No annual thing in our area. Most of the book activity in the province revolves around Halifax. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Capital density for efficiency, I guess. Summer of Reading Fair on July 10th is in Oklahoma City. Okay. Same thing. Density, capital, I get it. That makes sense. And Portland Book Bingo. Yeah. So that's how they made it extra fun. There's also lots of events. Oh, and I didn't look this up. I was going to get the link for this, and I didn't. But I just had a Portland friend put up a vlog, and I will share the link. So this is Lindsay Reads, and she actually came to my last book launch, which is amazing. And so I got to meet her in person. And Lindsay Reads vlog. That is her latest video, which talks about her experience of Portland Book Week. And that's what inspired me to like, I should really say something about this. This will be good. So she took a different approach. She did it regionally. And I think she went to Vancouver spots and Northeast Portland spots. And so she did sort of like 2 field trips. Yeah, field trips is a good theme because I have basically made it a mission most days of the book week and a half to try 2 new places. That seems manageable, right? And this is where we run into snags because 2 of the times that I went out for 2 places, one of them was closed. Google had the hours wrong and they were closed for special orders to get ready for the book fair. And I'm like, you can't do that. If it's only a week, you can't close for the last event. So I'm a little annoyed at that. That's just bad planning. But yeah, so Lindsay had a neat take. She found some good reads, especially about national parks. So I can't remember. Oh, shoot. I have the name. She's a woman with blonde curly hair. She's a newer YouTuber, and she is reading a lot about Yellowstone and national parks. And now I blew out the memory. But yeah, so great finds, and that's what I'll be talking about as well. Hello, Diane. Hey, hey, hey. And Constance. Hello, hello. I did ask about the sunrise or the sunset where you are because I woke up at 4:43 a.m. and got to observe a beautiful sunrise. So, all right. So that's the bingo card. They come in all colors, but this is what they all look like. I got a pink one for some reason. The strategy. Okay, so this is my strategy. Where did I put my oh, okay. Well, I'll use the bingo card to illustrate. So I looked at all these and was like, okay, which ones do I want to visit? Of course, I looked them all up on Google Maps and was like, oh, I've been to that one. I know it. It's fine. I haven't been to this one. Let's do that. So I marked off the ones that I wanted to go to. I looked at their hours. I wrote them on here. I grouped them in order of Google Maps, like forays, so that I could be efficient with the car. And try to do like, okay, we'll group these here, this here, this here for a few different days of excursions. And then I looked at the prompts and was like, okay, which prompts do I want to do? So I figured a realistic challenge would be 2 bingos because I'm not going to black out. You can only do 1 stamp per store. You can't double dip, and there's 25. So I'm not going to hit 25 in a week. But the other thing is I don't ask if you need to buy a book to get a stamp. I just buy a book at each place. So maybe you didn't need to, but I felt weird trying to ask for a stamp without buying something. So I want to support the bookstores. It's in my DNA. So I figured I would do this one, which has a freebie, but it's not really freebie because it takes up. You can't use it for 2 stores. Your favorite indie bookstore. So that's obviously Backstory. So then I couldn't use Backstory for the other one. And I was like, shoot. So this one is almost full. I've got 4 out of the 5, and this one is 2 out of the 5. So I have 3 more stamps to get, and I have 3 bookstores on my mission list today. So you'll hear about those at the end. But yeah, I figured I can do 2 bingos. That's 5, 5, 10 with 1 overlap. So that's 9 bookstores, and I had like 10 days. So 2 at a time. You see my strategy here. It's roughly doable, right? Okay, so that was the strategy. Expert at bookstore shopping, if I don't say so myself. And the results so far. So what do we got? What do we got? I want to do a bookstore bingo so badly. I know. The stamps are cool. Man, I'd be on such a mission too. Yeah, they're interesting. There's a snail. There's actually 2 snails. There's a little like curly-haired head. There's a sun and a moon crescent. There's like a witch hat with a star or a fireman hat with a peak. I'm not sure. And then there's a Gothic arched window. So I heard a sound and I was a little freaked out. I thought it was in my apartment, but I think it's outside. Let me close the window just to make sure. Okay. Whew. It's like this weird crackling water sound. I was like, that's not inside my apartment. Okay. Danger averted. Okay, so results so far, and then I'll talk about why indie bookstores are so great to support. So I look at my planner, which is how I recorded everything. And, I went to some bookstores right before book week, like a silly person. But that is some of the chaos of the near term. The first one I went to is Arches. Arches is the one with the Gothic window because it's like the architrave. I don't know how to say that because I'm not an architect. But Arches, what's it called? Arches Bookhouse. It's a little different. I got 2 books there. Here's my running tally. So Arches, I had to drive there because it is like 4.5 miles away, and I got 2 books there, and it was $22. So you'll see they're hefty tomes, right? They're serious nonfiction. Sacred Economics is one that was recommended in another book, and so I had that on my wish list. And Indigenous Peoples' History of the United States is just one that I thought would be in line with the Howard Zinn History of the United States, but better. Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz and Charles Eisenstein. Sorry, I said Barry or Charles Eisenstein. So good nonfiction. It's mostly like nonfiction focused at Arches. They have a lot of philosophy, and not too much literature, a lot of religion/philosophy. So when I go there, I'm looking for like classics of sociology, social science. They do have a science fiction section. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, not like any romance or mystery or any of that. They do have a pretty good science section as well, like nature and stuff. So 2 books, $22. All right, the next one I went to, I tried to go to 2, and I only got 1. So we went to Sherwood Bookstore, which I had never been to, never heard of. Sherwood is a suburb of Portland that's about 40-minute drive away. And so I was like, I'm going to have a field trip, right? And it's a new bookstore. It's only like a year old. Oh, and I took pictures. So I was going to share some of the pictures that I took. And I didn't take did I take pictures of? Oh, this is Arches. So these are 2 of the ones that I did not bring home. Stolen Focus by Johann Hari, which is like a mind training book that I thought would be interesting. And the other one was At the Center of All Beauty, Solitude, and the Creative Life by Fenton Johnson. So if you've seen these and I should go back and grab a copy, let me know. Otherwise, moving on to Sherwood, we have entering in, we see a wall with typewritten pieces by people who have come in, which is fun. Beautiful open space, bright and airy, and lights and like dangling stars. That's like the kid section off to the right there. More stars, balloons, decorations, new releases right at the front with some pretty books. I had never been there before, like I said, so I had to look over every table. And here are some of the books that I saw but did not take with me. Bernadette Banner is a famous YouTuber who has come up with this book in 2022, Make, Sew, and Mend. She's a seamstress who does historical costuming in historically accurate ways and is whimsical, sort of funny. She started in New York and then moved to outside London, I believe. So she's a New Yorker who is now a immigrant in Britain. And it looked interesting, just, not enough to take home. The Courage to Be Happy. I wasn't sure about this. I was like, gonna look it up, and I haven't yet. The Art of Frugal Hedonism. That was a fun cover. Spend Less While Enjoying Everything More. So Sea Change. I don't know. Success Story of Oceanic Proportions. This is about climate stuff, but when I read it, I was like, oh, I don't know. Okay, so let's see. The book that I did take back with me there is called The Art of Simple Living by Shunmyo Masuno. And this book I've already started reading. It's nice for like a few one-page chapters before bed. And some of them I find obvious, and some of them I let sink a little deeper. So simple living, Zen kind of attitude, and just sort of reflecting and being mindful about stuff. So that's helped slow down my mind. There's cute little illustrations. It's a cute little book. I also got stickers there. I also got a birthday card that I sent the same day. So it was $28. And yeah, book, sticker, card. Card's getting expensive, y'all. I won't pay more than $6 for a card. This one was $4, I think. But like, why are cards so expensive these days? I don't know. But that was fun. I heard about the owners talking back and forth and other people visiting for Book Week talking about their bingo cards. It was great. So that was my first successful new bookstore for Book Week. After Sherwood, before Sherwood, on my way to Sherwood, I went to a place that's in Portland, but like you can't get there by walking easily. Called Chaparral Bookstore, and it's in St. John's Landing, which is a cute little neighborhood next to a big hospital. And they were closed because their Google hours were wrong, or they had just changed them, or they hadn't verified them or something. So drove all the way down there, especially to go in, and they were closed all day. I was like, okay, that's one thing wrong. So let's go on and find another good thing. I find if I have one bad thing happen in a day, it's not so bad. But if like one after another, it's better to just go home and like take a nap and start over in the middle of the day. So that's what I end up doing. So Chaparral did not work out. Then I went to Word Virus the same day. So because I couldn't go to my second bookstore, I thought, okay, well, I'll throw in one of my walking bookstores. And I walked to a bookstore that was right across from Powell's. So it's called Word Virus. It used to be way out in the suburb, and it moved into right at the core, opposite from Powell's. So Word Virus is right on Burnside, right in the center of the city. It's small, but very well curated. So well curated that once I did a sort of circuit and I got a feel for what they liked, I said, oh, okay, I'm going to go to my wish list on Storygraph. So all the books that I tagged with wish list, I'm going to filter books published between 1925 and 1985, something like that. So I got that list, and then I sorted it from author name A to Z. And then I just went through their literature section, because that's what it was, is like 20th century, a lot of translation, and that was pretty neat. So I had not seen this bookstore before, and so I got to peek. Here we go. So I hadn't noticed it for some reason. This is the outside, right on the main street. Books and colors. It's going to pull you in, right? Literature and belles lettres. You've got chapbooks for people who like a little variety, a little novelty. You've got events. You've got art. You've got lots of music and art and that kind of like beat kind of sympathies. Lots of little books in the little twirler there. I don't know what to call that. But yeah, original floor, I'm sure. Old building. And just like long and pretty narrow, but like a really good selection, and foreign language books, as I said, which is pretty neat because you don't find those a lot of places. All right. So that's it for that one. So that was one day. Okay, I'm going to take a break from that and say this one and this one. Okay, so if you have questions about this stuff, pop it in the chat. But I'm going to do a little sidebar and talk about why do we care about shopping at independent bookstores. I'm going to borrow from a couple great websites that have already talked about this and critique them a little bit. So Libro.fm has its list of why. Number one, booksellers are the best, and that is pretty great. I have almost never come across rude booksellers, so that's great. You have room to browse. So if you're a tactile, millennial or older person like me, you get to handle books. You get to like see how long they are, what the type is like. I know you can change the type in ebooks, but for those who are not ebook people, you need to see the book. You're helping the local economy, which I'll expand on when I go to the other list. Number 4, there are always events to check out. Yes, there's a pretty, I don't know the percentage. I would say like 70% of independent bookstores that I visit have an event component. Some are too small or are stuffed too full, and so they don't, but most of them make an effort to have local authors, have visiting authors, do book launches, have a book club. And so that means you have to have a gathering place for events, which means a third place. You can go somewhere without paying and be with your community. Number 5 from Libro's list is you can get more than just books. And they have a picture of busboys and poets. And actually, more than just books. So they have on this list, a hybrid bookstore is one of the prompts on the bingo card, where you have books and yarn, which is backstory, books and movies, books and music, books and art, books and tattoos. Yes, it's Portland. There is a bookstore inside a tattoo parlor. Of course there is. And I've been in there, actually. But also bookstore with cafe is a separate, there we go, with a cafe or a beverage counter. That's a separate prompt. So that's one of the ones I'm visiting today that I haven't visited before. And I love that. Multiple purpose, dual purpose, more than one offering. It just makes you stand out. Number 6, by shopping local, you're helping the environment. All right, so how do they break that down? You reduce your carbon footprint when you shop in store rather than having your books shipped. Less transportation means lower environmental impact. Most indies even offer the option to purchase books online for in-store pickup. So all you have to do is drop in when you're free, grab your books, and go. I would not highlight that as the great part. But spend time in your bookstore. Get to know the people, please. Don't just be an online faceless customer. Number 7, to keep independent bookstores around, we have to support them. And that is totally true. I grew up with several independent bookstores, kids one, religious one, general one, used one, and they are all gone. So I heartily miss my hometown independent bookstores and the experience that I grew up with. They just could not compete in the late 90s. They tried lots of different strategies, but they could not compete with Barnes and Noble and Amazon at the same time, because they were both undercutting and lost leadering them into the ground. So despite my family's best efforts to keep them single-handedly in business, novel experience, they retired and had to find other work. So yeah. And then the second list that I was going to talk about and expand a little bit on the economic side. So if you spend $100 at a local bookstore, 68% of that, $68, stays in your community, meaning it like circulates in your community rather than going to some corporate headquarters somewhere else and avoiding taxes. If you spend the same $100 at a national chain like Barnes & Noble, your community only sees $43 because the national chain does pay property taxes, etc., but not as much as if it was someone who actually lived there. So local businesses create higher paying jobs for our neighbors. Yes. How many people do you know who want to be a bookseller, who want to work in a bookstore, who want to own a bookstore? Like, I've worked in several bookstores and I love it. I may have my own bookstore one day. That's a dream, right? I think it's a dream for a lot of people. And yeah, that means people can follow their dreams. And then this one, I had a little bone to pick. More of your taxes are reinvested in your community where they belong. Now, more of your taxes. I can't figure out any mechanism by which my taxes change the way they are treated based on which businesses are in the area. But I think that means they get taxed. So more of our taxes collectively for Portland or your area are reinvested in your community. So I think that's a little weird wording. But yeah, so that's the economic aspect, and then community support your friends and neighbors and their businesses, and they'll support you. Having third places to gather and be in community and support each other, it's right there. Local businesses donate to charities at more than twice the rate of national chains. And more independence means more choice, more diversity, and a truly unique community, which is totally true. Portland is definitely a book town, but you've got multiple, diverse bookstores, genre-specific bookstore, so like sci-fi fantasy bookstore, romance bookstore. We have both of those. LGBTQIA plus owned bookstore. I had multiple choices for that. I think I've visited 2 so far. A woman-owned bookstores, definitely multiple for that. Comic and graphic novels. BIPOC-owned bookstore, so Black, Indigenous, or person of color. So that's basically lending itself to a background of normalcy where we all perceive other people to have as much leeway in choosing what they want as we do, right? So if we never see a Black person as a bookseller, if we never see an Indigenous-owned bookstore, then we might not think that's where they belong. So the more that we have, the more diverse-owned businesses and diverse neighbors working alongside our neighborhoods we have, the more we figure it's normal and we don't have weird feelings about it, right? So decolonize yourself. Decolonize your shelf, decolonize your brain, decolonize your community. Okay, any questions about why you should shop indie? And I know some people don't live in a town where there are options, and so it's either a long drive or it's ordering online anyway. And I would just encourage you to look into different options besides Amazon, because they are a monopoly, they are union busters, they are destroying the planet, they are co-opting our government in the US and not paying taxes. So really, the less power you can give them, the better. All right, so there we go. There's my soapbox. That was our yapping theme today. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's see, what did I get from this? Absolutely spoiled for choice with all these bookstores in your area. I'm living in the wrong place. Julie, the LA area has tons of bookstores. I even got pre-orders from a bookstore in LA because it just looked so fun. I'm sure there's some sort of map or some sort of bingo or scavenger hunt that Greater Los Angeles does. And your town may even have one that's more specific. If you need help, I can help you find them because there's a whole bunch. And some of them are actually tagged on my Google map because I want to visit them someday. Diane says, question of the day, heck no, our town is small. So no festival. We have to drive an hour each way for anything like that. Yeah. Eva, who often comes on in the chat, I think she said it's like a 45-minute drive either way to either of the independent bookstores. So it's one direction or the other, and they're right in the middle. So, yeah, just maybe choosing to make it a field trip and a special occasion every once in a while rather than like an automatic click of a button. I do support local authors, though, and we have a decent amount. That's excellent to hear. They can be hard to be aware of because of the loudness of others in our advertising space, for sure. So I'm glad you seek them out. All right, so Arches, Sherwood, Word Virus. Now we're going to move on to one that I walked to the next day, which is called Bishop and Wild. Do I have a picture of Bishop and Wild? No. Okay. So I'll just have the books for this one. Bishop and Wild is a small bookstore. It is LGBTQIA owned. It is inside a building owned by Tin House, which is actually a big small press here in Portland. They have like 3 big buildings in Northwest where I live. And they have lots of gatherings and events and I haven't kept up with them recently, but they did have a small bookstore move-in a couple years ago, and I've been several times. I ordered the trading game from them, new, so that I could read it with Ven. And did I not go over the word virus books that I purchased? I did not. See, this is why I have like 4 scraps of paper to keep me on track here. Okay. How it's going. All right. Keep me on track. Okay. So Word Virus, which was that small, narrow, translated books and 20th century fiction books. I got 5 books there. It was a little haul, right? They're all kind of small books, so not like the Arches ones. I couldn't pass this up, even though I didn't look up John Dixon Carr. I'd heard the name and I knew it. I thought it was like a Westernish, but it's not. It's mid-century and it's mystery and kind of lurid mystery, as you can tell from the title. So The Bride of Newgate by John Dixon Carr. I actually looked this up when I was logging it into Storygraph and realized I had read another one of his books and given it 2 stars. And was like, oh, well, I guess I'm giving him a second chance because this looked too juicy. So Newgate Prison, 1815. It's a Regency novel written by a dude in the 20th century. So that was too intriguing not to partake. Then I've got this from my wish list, which was a not totally cheap, but it was on the wish list. So J.L. Carr's A Month in the Country has been recommended to me by 3 YouTubers at this point, most recently by Mike at Riff Raff's Renaissance. Riff Raff Reads is the channel name. I think I'll like it, and it's not long, so maybe that'll be for September, for a shorty September read. And then this was also, it used to be on my wish list, and then I think I took it off when I stopped doing March of the Moderns. Lolly Willows is a 1920s writer, Sylvia Townsend Warner of some acclaim. And I think she is a Persephone author, meaning she's a forgotten 19th and 20th century woman's voice in publishing who they revived. But this is a NYRB edition, and there were no old copies. They have all disappeared, and they were all reprints. So they were all like $20. So when I found this for $8, I was like, well, that's a better deal, I guess. So it's supposed to be the subject that is really up my alley. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll get this copy. So there we go. And then, okay, this is what I put up. Where did I put this up? I put it up as a status. It wasn't Blue Sky, somewhere. We have Catherine Ann Porter and Catherine Mansfield. I haven't read either of them. They're both like big 20th century women authors. And there's a difference in tone I get from like reading the reviews and the blurbs, but not sure. And I think there's like 30 years difference. But like the names are too close. So I am going to put that to rest and finally read both of them and be able to separate them in my mind. If you have thoughts about either Catherine Ann Porter, who wrote Pale Horse, Pale Rider, a collection of short stories, or Catherine Mansfield, who has another collection of short stories here, let me know and tell me who's better or which one you've read. So I'm finally going to break that barrier and see whether one of the two is more me. Okay, so those are all the Word Virus books. That's the 3rd place I went. The 4th place I went is Bishop and Wild, that is situated in Tin House. And, I was just there for the ordering of the new book with Ven. So I was kind of hard put to find a book to buy. This is one that had been on my wish list, and then I took it off because I couldn't find a cheap used copy. So this is actually $13, which is the price of a new paperback not too many years ago. And I actually cleaned it. It was dirtier when I bought it. So that doesn't speak really well for it. The Bookstore, not the book. The book, Minor Feelings by Kathy Park Hong, looks really good. Every time I look at the, I flip through and just read something randomly, it's very incisive and witty and calling out things that I think I've sort of grasped the tail end of, but I want her to dig more into it in terms of being a minority in America and the things that you discover, like the white people discovering later in life, the world isn't like I thought it was. So I thought that would be a good filler out of my experiences, an Asian American reckoning. One of the big things she talks about is the riots in LA. I can't remember if it's the 1960s ones or the 1990s ones, but the ones that were in Koreatown, and like that was a big deal for the Korean community. And you think, oh yeah, we think it's black and white like conflict, but it's in Koreatown, and there's obviously ripples, and like how did that affect everything? So yeah, so $13 though felt was a little steep, but you know, they're struggling. They had an injury. They're a couple who own the bookstore. They were out for a while. They were crowdfunding to stay open. They have a young child, and I will say the young child is often at the bookstore when it's open, and is like less than a year old. And so I don't stay there very long because the child is usually pretty vocal. And this time there was a friend visiting with another child, and it's not a big place. So the screaming chased me out pretty quickly. So just a warning, support your bookstores, support LGBTQIA owned small businesses, but like beware of your eardrums. Just saying. Let's see. The next one I have is Endless Wonders. Okay. The next one is another LGBTQIA bookstore that I had not been to yet, that I had to drive to. And I got one book there, which is also $13. But it also combined purposes. Let me catch up with the chat. Anita says, John Dixon Carr is a pulp mystery author, I think. Yes. I think he's done mostly mystery thrillers. Yeah, like mid-century. A Month in the Country says, Julie is amazing. Recommendation number 4. There we go. Okay, I'll put your name on it too. And then I could just thank everyone when I read it and love it. Julie says, yes, I always clean out my used books, remove dirt and sticker glue, etc. And then I throw them in the freezer for a week. Yeah, that's probably a good conservative thing to do. But like I have 12 books from the past week, and there's no room in my freezer for that because we have a heat wave coming. My freezer is full of ice cream. So, but that is a smart move because things can be like infesting the books, and then you bring it into your house and it gets into your textiles, and that's also not good. Yeah, no little kids, please. I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, other customers can also bring them in as well, and they're totally out of their control, and they're totally welcome in the kids section, right? But like in a small space, and there's 2 of them, yeah, not my scene. Constance cannot compare the 2 Catherines, but The Jilting of Granny Weatherall. I'm getting a Terry Pratchett striking here. Is the most devastating short story I have ever read. That is Porter. Oh no, that's Weatherwax. Sorry. Catherine Porter. So I'm always on her team. Oh, okay. Let's see. Porter. Let's see if it's in here. This is like, I think this is 3 short novels. So I don't know if that is going to be in here. Old Mortality, Noon Wine, Pale Horse, Pale Rider. Okay, this is not in that in this collection, but that's a good recommendation. So I will keep that in mind. Okay, moving right along. Endless Wonders. This was driving out to Montevilla. So this is still, I guess, in Portland proper, but like half an hour drive. It's right by Mount Tabor. It's a really nice neighborhood, lots of houses, and then a few like commercial streets. This is on one of the commercial streets. It is also in a bakery. So it's only open 4 days a week. And well, I'll show you. Here we go. I took some pictures because it was so beautiful. Of course, I just took pictures of the ones that I hadn't been to before. So apologies for, you know, not getting everything like a vlog. Just imagine it's a vlog, like Lindsay's. Okay, so this is coming in and coming in from the street on the left into Endless Wonders. Now I had bought books from them, but it was because they had a table at the AIDS Walk like last spring. So they didn't have a physical location at that point. They were doing pop-ups. And I talked to both of the owners, and they were lovely and delightful. And so I bought 2 books there that were gifts. I think one of them, maybe both were gifts. And yeah, they were great. So it's a new bookstore. I think there's some used ones that are on the little cart, but very colorful. I loved the wallpaper. That is looking at the bakery end. So you get the other half of the wall with some cards and stickers and stuff. And then like the subway tile for the bakery. This is the place. There's like the view. I'm at the little side bar where there's like tables and stuff. And then that is the view that I posted on my YouTube community tab because I was torn between this donut with the maple glaze and the cinnamon roll with cream cheese icing. And I'm thinking it was the owner said, well, if you like cream cheese icing, this is it. I was like, well, it does look really good. So I tried it. The frosting, the icing was amazing. It was not solid as it usually is. It was very like swipey, very spreadable. So it was amazing. Like I said, I was zoomed into heaven when I was eating this. Like I got it all over my fingers. I probably got it all over my face. It was fine. It was a heavenly experience. So, and a beautiful little corner of a bookstore, right? So you have like two walls basically that they shared in the Hungry Heart Bakery, 4 days a week. And again, this is like the flexible, customized, unique experience that we have a diverse array of people doing these businesses, which makes the whole landscape that much more beautiful. And that was just like the street signs, the cute little logo. And again, if you like any of these places, I'm sure you can visit their website and order books from them to support them for Pride Month, for example. If you wanted to take one off your wish list and order it from an indie bookstore that I introduced you to, tell them Margaret sent you. They'd be like, who's that? But it would be fun. It would be good for my street cred. Okay, so that's the next one. Let me go back here. The book that I got at this lovely / bakery bookstore thing is Demystifying Disability. So I have a few people on my story graph who read this and gave it a high rating. It's by Emily Ladow, and it's sort of like a magazine layout, so not heavy text. We've got like some illustrations. Basically, it's what to know, what to say, how to be an ally. So ableism, just like triggering people, empathizing, all that kind of stuff. And it was 20% off, which I don't know if that was a book week sale or what, but I think it's probably because they had it for a while and, we're trying to sell it. Nice format, topic that I need to brush up more on. And so it was perfect fit. So I took that home with me. It's cute cover. I also took home that cinnamon roll. Actually, no, it didn't leave with me. Cinnamon roll with cream cheese icing and a savory croissant with feta, dill, roasted carrots. That was lunch. So I had breakfast and then I had lunch and it was amazing. So all my needs for half a day at this bookstore bakery. What more do you need? So that was Endless Wonders, $13 for this book. And then let's see, there was one more attempt. I forgot. Results so far. I walked to Bishop and Wild, which is in Northwest. And then I thought, I'll just wrap around and walk back down to Southwest. So it's kind of a long walk, but I walk at least 3 miles a day on most days. So I stopped halfway. I was kind of tired. I looked at their website and they were the ones who said closed for book week to get ready for the book fair. And I was like, seriously? Yeah, they're young. This is their first year. It's a place called Kid Hermes the Trickster, and they're right behind the Central Library branch. So there's already a romance bookstore across from the Central Library. Now around the corner, there is another bookstore called Kid Hermes the Trickster. And I was like, that is an intriguing title. So I was excited. But then, so I did my planning on Monday. It started on Friday, did my planning on Monday. They're closed. They're usually open Wednesday to Sunday. They were closed Monday, Tuesday for normal, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday to get ready for the fair. And I was like, guys. So again, a little annoyed with like how people had planned and not considered their audience. So I didn't get to go there. I did drive to Endless Wonder, and then after Endless Wonder, I went to in Southeast. So these are both Southeast. Something called Boredom Books. Now this is in the Southeast Foster neighborhood, which is where Backstory used to live. And so I was like, oh, I know this place. I just tried to go to a food cart pod there, and the food cart that said it was there was not there. So again, these sort of real life internet realities meeting is distressful for me. But yeah, so that was disappointing because I was really hungry, and then I just had to go home and like cobble something together instead of getting the lovely sandwich that I was hoping for. But that's fine. So Foster neighborhood, really small bookstore, basically like 2 narrow long rooms, I guess. Let's see. I will put this up, but I think I need to change. There we go. So that is looking into Boredom Books with the author right there. It's got a very Shakespeare and Company feel to it. The signs for the sections and types of books are all illustrations. There's a big like art and music and film section, and graphic novels are right on that cart in front of him. And, you know, there's a bargain cart outside, which I almost got a book from. But then when I came in, it was $5. I was like, well, that's not the bargain I was thinking this book would be, because it was old and it was small and it was not really a popular subject. So I was thinking more like 1 or 2. So we changed our strategy for this one. That is the Bookstore dog. He's so very cute. Apparently likes to sit in the sun, but, you know, can't be on his own. So he's on a leash and harness. And I tried to go out and like pet him and talk to him, and he was just like totally blasé. He's like, everyone does this. You're not special. So low energy dog, but that did suffice for a prompt. It allows dogs to visit. So we got that one stamped. Anyway, so that is all the pictures. The books that I got at Boredom Books include a graphic novel. So I don't know how many of you know Ali Brosh. Anyone know Ali Brosh? She's an illustrator, cartoonist. I don't know what she would call herself. But she got really famous from her first book called Hyperbole and a Half. And it was, I would say, like a book about mental health struggles. You might recognize the style of illustration. But it was a big hit, and, you know, I'm sure there were lots of events and everything, but that's like 10 years ago, maybe. And then she came out with this one a few years ago, and it wasn't as big. The book is as big. It's pretty huge. It's called Solutions and Other Problems, and that's the style, Ali Brosh. It's big, it's loud, it's stick figurey, it's lovely. It's like, it's very much understanding like how a weird brain works and works against itself. So that's why it's Solutions and Other Problems, I'm guessing. I am this far into it already. I just held back because it's one of these like really expensive, lots of color, lots of clay in the pages books. And so I was like, I can't justify that for the graphic novel. So I finally found this, and I was like, okay, I'll pay that. And then this one, since I've been looking at like Living Single, this is Single by Nicholas Lawson. It's actually really recent. I think it's 2025, Living a Complete Life on Your Own Terms. And I'm just looking for people who are considering, you know, like the societal implications of people being single and not having kids and living alone, and, you know, kind of like mind training. There's like some mindset changes that need to happen, that like are dealing with uncertainty and changing dreams and all this kind of stuff. So I like the pretty colorful cover, and I've been following a few accounts to talk about like being single. And so I just thought that was a good find. So those two were $22. Again, not the best deals, but it's the first time I've been there. And one was a chance purchase, and one was okay, I've seen this enough times. I'm going to get it. So side note, I actually got Hyperbole and a Half, Ali Brosh's first book, a used copy like this. It was nice, and gave it to my nephew for his birthday a year ago, or Christmas a year ago. And I never heard if he liked it. So when I got this, I sent him a picture and I said, oh, I got the sequel. Did you ever read the one that I got you, on Discord? So we'll see if he answers. So that is Boredom. So we're caught up with the results so far. You've got the pictures, you've got the book haul, and just imagine it was a vlog. There we go. Okay, so let me visit the chat before I forget what everyone was talking about. Yes, Weatherall, Weather Wax. I caught myself. Porter Story is online. Oh, okay. So the Jilting of Granny Weatherall. Got it. I was wondering about the cinnamon roll. Yeah. Assumed into heaven, like Mary, Mother of Jesus. I just couldn't help leveraging that little bit of Catholic lore for that joke. Spent many pleasant hours at Mount Tabor. Yeah, it's a great place. It's a great park, a former volcano. Whipped icing, maybe. Sounds so yummy. Whipped icing. Maybe. I don't know how to. I mean, I know whipped cream and I know whipped cream icing because I've heard about it when people order cakes, but I have very little experience with icing. I usually go without when I have to make a cake because the cake is good enough. We have no book festivals here, so this is Greg's answer of the day, but our largest independent stores has events all the time, especially for local authors. Awesome. Jocelyn's stepping away. All right. Diane. Oh, that's cool. Boredom Books set up. Yeah. You don't need a lot of space, right? The doggy lying outside the bookstore is a cutie. Yes. But obviously like way underpaid, not willing to play the role, let's say. And then this is the side bit about the TV show that they're talking about. All right, so that is what we have. That's 12 books bought so far and about $120. You know, if it was drugs, people would be more concerned. So that's what I tell myself. My last remaining mission is 3 more books in one field trip go today. And the ones that I have marked out are strategized because of the bingo card. So a favorite indie bookstore. It's Friday, so I had planned to go to Backstory because I sell back books there. Bookstore that sells used books. That can't be that one. So I know. Oh, and a women in bookstore. Okay, well, I'm going to 3. Backstory will be there. I'm going to a bookstore cafe called White Rabbit. Hopefully it'll be open. It says it will. And maybe they sell used books. We'll see. Maybe they're a woman-owned bookstore. I don't know. But definitely the third one that I have on the list is Vivian Culinary, and that is mainly a cookbook bookstore. And the owner is a woman, and she also does like cooking classes in the back. So those definitely have used and new because I've bought both there. And I just love the setup and I love the idea. And I love, again, the diversity. It's a different genre focused bookstore. And yeah, so that's a woman owned and used book. So whichever the other one is, maybe I should go to Oregon City first then. Yeah. So I can tell which one that they work for. So yeah, so 3 places: Backstory, White Rabbit, Vivian Culinary. And this is why I live in Portland, because these are my people. These are book people. They get excited about niche interests like cookbooks or books and yarn or, 20th century translated literature. Everyone's got their own lane and everyone is free to like join and break off and, find something new. And that's what's so great about it. So buy indie, shop local. If any of these stores seem interesting and you have something on your wish list, maybe consider ordering from them to support them. So yeah, 3 more to try. I may be getting baked goods. I may be getting stickers. There's been some wild adding to the cart as I go around to these places. But yeah, so that'll be 11 bookstores in a week, which is nothing to sneeze at. But that is why this stream had to be taken over by Portland Book Week. Hope you understand. Any other? That was that banner that I forgot to put up. Any other questions or does anyone want to start a book festival? I know we had that book tag that was about having your own bookstore, which was a really fun one to do. Does anyone out there want to start a book fair or book festival? I have done that. It was called Yola Book Float, PDX. I did it with a friend, and there were pros and cons. I would not do that way again. It was very stressful. So probably part of what led to the like dragging down of the whole being an author thing. Greg says I learned about the bookstore women and children first, I think. No, that's the one in Chicago. Documentary series, Portlandia. Women and Women First. Is that really what it's called? I don't know about that one. It's not on the list, so it may not exist anymore. Look for bookmarks. This is good advice. Yeah. They give you bookmarks whether or not you ask for them. This would be a great place to add a card up here where I do the book tag that's about bookmarks, because I have a lot of bookmarks. I cycle in and out, and yeah, I don't need any more. I don't need any more because like that bag is all I am dedicating to bookmarks, but I do have a lot that I like. But yeah, bookmarks are fun. So let's see. That was the last bit. The next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific is a tag. I'm going to do the banned books tag. So I think that's about music or bands. I don't remember anymore. I already wrote my answers, but it was like a month ago. So who knows? Yeah, that's us. Happy Friday, everyone. It'd be cool starting a festival, a lot of planning. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot for sure. It would be cool. You know what's going to be cool this weekend? Not me, because we have a heat wave coming in. We're going to have like 80s and 90s for 4 days at least straight, which means like I won't be able to cool down the place. I do not have air conditioning. I have 2 fans, but I face east. And so I have this whole routine, and I have plans, and I have, stocked up on ice cream, as I said. So Bean and I will muddle through. Fingers crossed. And we'll see you next Wednesday for the banned books tag. Other than that, thanks for watching. If this was useful, please subscribe. Check out the links to buy my books while they're 75% off to help me fill the thermometer. And I'll put the bookstore names that I highlighted that I went to and bought stuff from down in the description after this. But yeah, there we go. Thanks, everyone. This is like awesome, spontaneous, and yeah, reading is a good activity when there's a heat wave. Low energy, just like that dog. All right, thanks for watching, everyone, and Team Replay. I will see you again soon.